First, I want to welcome everybody to the Jaxx Banquet. Some of you guys did this last year. A lot of you, this is your first experience, and give you a little history. We've been going with the Jaxx now for 6 years, and we've had over 16 different teams now put on a uniform and take the field for the Jaxx. And I believe this is our 5th banquet in the 6 years, and it's kind of one of the highlights of the season. Something I always look forward to, and this is also staying with the theme of the Jaxx kind of being a stepping stone, between Little League and then these young men getting to the high school level. This is one of the things they'll experience once they get there. So I'm looking forward to the night. Coaches, we've got a lot of good things planned. We want to acknowledge our teams, the program, of course you, the parents, and we've got some individual awards to give out at the end. And we'll kind of, send the year off and then start looking to the future. We've got our Arizona tournament coming up in 2 weeks here. So that being said, we will go ahead and get started with dinner. Which, by the way, I'd like to give Danny Estrada a round of applause. It looks like he's got a great meal plan. I know there's chicken over there, ribs, pasta bar, all kinds of stuff.
Black History Month.
First, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to let these fine-looking gentlemen get up, and they can start serving their plates, and then we'll just go from there one by one. Maybe we'll start with the tables in the back, and then work our way up. Enjoy the meal, guys. Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. As we're going, parents, if we can just keep an eye on the little ones. As I'm up here, I keep seeing them kind of run behind the bar. We don't want anything bad to happen, and us get kicked out of here. A table fall, something like that. We're pretty fortunate that they let us come and do our banquet here. So let's keep an eye on them. So before we get going, just one more time, and food was great. I want to thank Danny Estrada for everything he did tonight with the meal. He does catering if anybody has parties or weddings and stuff like that coming up. Okay. First and foremost, thank you guys for coming. Got to start with the parents. Speaking from the coaching staff, from the players, none of this is possible without you. As we all know, travel ball is a huge commitment, and there's a lot that goes on. From running the kids to practices, to running them to games, to getting the text from me at 10:30 at night that we got to be back at 7 o'clock in the morning for the next game, to tournament fees, to washing their jersey so it's ready to go for the next day, to get into practice, to waiting because I said 9:30 it was ending and we don't get out of there until 9:45. All that stuff. We appreciate it as coaches. It couldn't happen without you guys, without your support, without your dedication, without your commitment to the Jaxx, to the travel ball, really world. It's a whole different world as we're all finding out. So just from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys very much for kind of buying into everything. So talk about teams here. We started back in September when we had the workout. I was real excited that it looked like we were going to go in the direction of having not only an 11U team, but a 10U team. We had enough players, and we had enough for a practice squad. And so 3 or 4 years ago, we had 2-3 teams every time. So I was glad to see us get back to that point. And I think in the beginning we were all kind of skeptical. The 10U team, where it was going to go as far as how the future was concerned, how we were going to progress and whatnot. And standing here 4 or 5 months later, it's a safe bet to say they definitely exceeded all expectations, and it was a success from top to bottom. So 10U guys, you know, on the season here, I'm going to spit out some stats as we go. They played a total of 37 games, you know, went 24-13, which again, in the beginning, had we guessed that, you know, wouldn't have guessed that one. Won a couple championships, came runner-up a couple times, saw the players do some great things. Towards the end of the night, all the players will get these books. We call them kind of like press guides, something we used to do up for the high school. And stats is something that I think is important in the sport. It's important to me as a coach. We have a long history of stats going back 6 years. We've got all kinds of single season records, career records. We have this Hall of Fame that we've been doing. And it's also good because it sets goals for all you boys to try to work for something. You know, go and get it next year. But yeah, on that 10U team, you know, 24-13 was like I say, it's a success from beginning to end. And it's not over. It's not over for that team by any means. 11U team. We've been playing now for a year and a half, year and 3/4. The amount of games that we've put in, I think we're going on about 130, 135 games now in a year and a half. And if you think about all the time and the effort that's put into all that, it's also a success. We didn't quite reach the goals that we wanted to this session. We kind of ran into some obstacles and some roadblocks, but that's what sports is. That's what life is. It's not always going to be win and succeed and get everything you want. You know, we're going to go through ups, we're going to go through downs, and that's what makes you better as a player. That's what makes you better as a person. In the spring, our 11U team played 12 games, along with another 53 games this past fall, for an overall record of 41, 21, and 1, which is still really good. That's about 65% of our games. So when you sit there and look at the program as a whole, both teams, and the direction we're going, it's good. A couple other numbers for you guys. You know, all these games that I just said, talking about records, wins, and losses, that's all a product of us practicing. You know, we put in over 200 hours of practice this last fall. That's a lot of baseball. With those 200 hours, I kind of did some averaging, crunching some numbers here. Infielders took an average of about 1,000 ground balls in those 4 months. Outfielders took an average of about 500 fly balls. Each individual kid averaged about 5,000 swings of the bat in 4 months. You know, that's what it's about. That's what makes you a better player. It's not just a button you push, you know, or a decision you make. You pay a little money here and all of a sudden happens. It's putting in the time and repeating it, repeating it, repeating it. And it's not just for 2 or 3 weeks. It's for 4 or 5 months. You know, and then you keep going, if that's the goal that you want. So, you know, one more time, and we talked about parents, so this is a hats off to you guys as players. Outstanding job all year long. Appreciate all the hard work you put in. We're going to talk more about it, okay? But outstanding job, great job. Give them a round of applause. That being said, we are going to move forward. We're gonna pull up each player here one by one. We'll go team by team. We're gonna talk them about a little bit, like do like a nice little group photo. We'll have everybody sit down, and then as everybody knows, we voted on the awards the other night. Thank you to the coaches and parents, whoever helped count up all the votes and all that. And then we'll give our individual awards at the end, and we'll do one big Jaxx group picture also at the end. Okay. So that being said. Just like any pitcher knows, you're only as good as your catcher. You know, managers, me kind of running the program only works because of the coaching staff. Those guys that put in the hours. We're going to start with the 10U. I'm going to introduce and call up manager Xavier Corral and his coaching staff. Danny Estrada, Tony Rivera, and Peter Ruiz.
So I'm going to touch bases on what Dustin said. We put in a lot of work. I want to first thank the parents. It was definitely a commitment. And I know for the 10U, probably 80% of the kids have never played travel ball. Their only experience in baseball is Little League. And it's a couple times, Renee, stop. It's a couple times a week in practice, you know, maybe a couple games during the week. That's 4 times. Dustin had some stats about the practices. Listen, it was 2.5 to 3 hours, 3 times a week, and it was at night, and it wasn't great conditions out there. I mean, the weather was cold. It was freezing, 45, 50 degrees. I see the kids playing in hoodies, right? Managers all buttoned down, no shorts, right? I love shorts, but I was going in sweats. It was so cold. And just imagine the kids, right? And that opportunity to play in a travel team. So thank you for getting those kids there on time, and they were there on time, washing their uniforms, and having to go through that stuff, that dedication, that commitment. So thank you. I also want to thank Dustin and the 11U coaches. I know from our coaching staff, yes, we coached the Little League. Some of us maybe managed, maybe they didn't, but it was very limited in our coaching knowledge. You guys allowed us, Dustin, to kind of shadow them, get Dustin's program, and run that program for the 10U so the kids could progress. I mean, it wasn't, you know, it's the Jaxx name. It wasn't us. It wasn't the 10U. It was the Jaxx name. And to allow us to do that, you know, we're very grateful. And I know it brought your 11U team down a little bit at the beginning. It was a little rough. I can, you know, we didn't catch on as quick as I thought we would. But in the end, I think we did an incredible job. The 10U, I can't tell you how proud I am of you kids. The expectations were, I gotta be honest, they weren't very high. They were very low. We were going to start off, it was a game plan Dustin had to kind of start off in the league and then progress from there. So you by far exceeded those expectations and appreciate that. I also like to thank our coaching staff. It isn't mine. Listen, I don't know everything. As many hours as I put in there, these 3 gentlemen did the same thing. It was cold. They were out there, like me. We had to set up the field, and it's not 2.5 hours. It may be 2.5 hours for the kids, but it's set up time prior to practice, and then break it down after practice. And we were there. We were there. I mean, it's a huge commitment. Yeah. So, thank you. Thank you, guys. So I'm going to introduce some kids. So bear with me. I've got stories from some, but it won't take long. This first kid is one of my favorite kids, and I'm going to say that a lot. But listen, I don't favor any kid, maybe one. This player was a clutch hitter. So anytime that we needed a big hit, and I'm talking big hit, not a little line drive, but one down the gap, right? He always delivered. When he first came to our team, we were scrambling trying to get players. And he isn't from Temple City, but he came. He didn't know any of the kids, and he never smiled. He looked a little nervous, but didn't smile, right? So towards the end of the season, guess what? He still didn't smile. He didn't talk, he didn't smile, but he's an awesome kid. He gets along with all the other kids. He's the only kid that I know that can hit a triple and get a single. The only player. And he had a ton of triples, right? And he had some home runs. He made our offense, our defense, infield, he made some spectacular plays that doesn't show in the scorebook. Like, we'll get a throw from short, third, second, pitcher, catcher, and it looks like in the scorebook as a, routine play. They're not all routine. And he made those plays. Isaiah, come up. Big boy. All right, this next player. He's one of the feistiest players that I know, and I'm going to tell you a little story about him. So, they're all funny, right? They're all funny. They're 9, 10-year-olds that are, committing to baseball. So we were having practice, and it was one of those cold nights, and we're doing outfield drills. He hits this, I hit the ball, it takes a bad hop, it hits him in the shin, he goes down, he's holding his leg, I walk over there, I look him in the face, he's rubbing his leg, and I think he was rubbing some dirt on it. I don't know, maybe some dirt, but he's rubbing his leg, he has a tear in his eye. I said, hey, are you okay? And he goes, yeah. I said, well, why don't you go sit down? He goes, no, I want to go back in line and do the drill. So he goes back at the end of the line, I get to him again, I hit him another shot, it takes a good bounce, he picks it up, but he's limping, and he makes this throw, and so I called the kid over, I said, hey, why don't you just take a seat for a little bit? And then, we're almost done with the practice, just take a seat and just rub it off, right? He did that, but it was because I had to tell him to do that. That's how much this guy is a gritty player. He's one of the faster guys on the team. He improved tremendously in the outfield. So I'll mention the outfield crew, because they're near and dear to my heart. In order to be a good team, we had to have outfielders that could catch the ball. So if you saw our first game, our first league game, we were in trouble. So we worked extremely hard to get the outfield in and catching and fielding and knowing where to throw, and he was one of those guys. Alex, come on out. All right, this next kid. So this next kid is always smiling. So he's opposite of Isaiah. And he's always talking. So it doesn't matter if we're in a drill or we're in the dugout and it's a tight game. If you look over, you hear some noise, right? We turn over, it's this kid, right? He gets along, he's an amazing kid. He gets along and talks and has a conversation with every kid on the team. It doesn't matter who it is. On our team, he knows everybody. The coaches all feel that this guy is, from day one of practice to the last game that we had of the season, he was the most improved player. He made our outfield, so I'm going to say it's my outfield, it's our crew, right? It's the motley crew of the outfield. He made it better. And it was only because he was determined to do that. And he's such a nice guy, but he is focused. He's one of the smartest guys on our team, and I loved having him on the field. Drew, come on up. Yeah, I know. All right, so this next kid is, he's a pretty good player. He's one of the youngest kids on the team. This guy's always moving. I mean, he goes 100 miles an hour every single day, every single practice. He does have a great glove. He struggled a bit in the batting, but listen, all the kids are going to develop at their own time. It's if you know that they have the skills to play this game. They're 9, 10-year-olds, right? But he is a good hitter. He's got tremendous fielding abilities, and he saved us. He literally saved us. This is a kid that, when we were going to a tournament early in the morning, and we're on a freeway, and I get a call that one of the kids is sick. So now that leaves us with 8 players. We then make this call to the parents. They bring the kid. I 100% guarantee you, if that is my kid and they need him and he did not want to go, he would fake an injury. Oh, I don't feel good, I'm too tired. But not this kid. This kid is feisty. He's got a bright future. Max, come on up.
I don't need to speak. I don't need to speak. Yeah, I don't need to speak. He's bad. Tell your dad that we don't.
All right, so this next kid is my favorite player. Listen, I probably yelled at this kid more than any 100% guarantee I did. I had the parent come to me and have a discussion to tone it down, so I had to listen. He has a big heart, and he is definitely a hard worker. He has the abilities, right? I talk about players developing at different times in the season. He's a guy that's going to get there. He has a lot of emotion in this game, which sometimes that hurts him because he's so nervous and he doesn't know how to deal with that. He's 9 years old, right? He's probably the second youngest player on the team, but he's got it. Ethan, come on out.
You guys sure?
All right, so this next player. All right, so I got to tell you. So we talked about the development of players, right, at different times. I'm amazed at this kid, and I always say this: you can never tell if we're up 10 runs or down 10 runs. He is one of our main pitchers. He's one of our offensive players on the team. But when it gets hard, right? Those games that are tight and we need an out or we need something big to happen, he's always there. He's always there. He is one of our core players, and every team. Listen, all the players. I love all the players. We don't get here unless we're a team. But in every team, there's always a leader, and then people follow, right? He's one of those leaders. He played multiple positions. He was our mainstay at shortstop. He pitched. He played outfield, and I think he caught one game. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was one game, one inning. All right, Daniel, come on up. All right, this next player is another one of our core players, right? I'm going to call them core players. He is probably by far, well, he pitched the most innings of anybody on our team. He is one of our best players. He played multiple positions: third base, shortstop, first, pitch, caught, outfield, and he's one of the most intelligent baseball players that we have here. He knows where to go with the ball. I mean, okay, we do the drills, right? But when it's in game time situation, he knows where to go with the ball. You don't have to scream at him. Maybe not scream is not the right word, but where to throw the ball, right? He knows where to go. He knows where to run. He has one of those abilities, right? His name is Val. All right, this next player is our youngest player on the team. I've never seen anybody love the game as much as this guy. I'm telling you. If you say pickup game, he's there. It doesn't matter. He's there. He's coming. Mom, Dad, take me. Right? And if he's not getting dirty, he's not having fun. He likes to slide. He likes to get down and dirty. He is one of our core players. Even though he's young, he's developed. He is our closer with multiple pitches. I mean, sometimes it's phenomenal to see the other team's batters whiff at a ball, right? And they don't even know it's coming. He played multiple positions. Shortstop, he pitched, he caught, he played third base, he played outfield, and he is our best hitter on the team. That's Rylan. Come on.
That was pretty much obvious. Yeah.
Okay, this next kid.
Jake, go tell your dad.
So, since I've been with Little League, I've been with this kid for, our kids have played together for probably 3 years, with the exception of fall ball. You know, I gave this kid a nickname, like I call Isaiah big boy. I call this guy Wild Mustang, and there's a reason. There's a reason why I call him a wild. He plays like that. He's a ball magnet. If you see this scrum in the middle of the field, right, Mateo's right in the center of that. This kid is always around the ball. It amazes me, and it doesn't matter. He'll sacrifice his body. He'll dive for the ball. He'll get on his knees and pick up the ball, and he'll make the play. He's an amazing player. He's also played multiple positions. He's played second. That's where he played. He's pitched. So if our 10U team, we needed pitchers. Pitchers was a problem with us, right? And he was one of the kids that developed along with other kids. Mateo, come on up, dude.
We don't need speeches.
Okay, this next kid has all the tools. He's actually probably, I would say, our most athletic kid that we have on the team. I was told by his parents that he's only played baseball for 2 years, and it's amazing. It's amazing the skills that this guy possesses. And listen, people are going to develop in different ways. He has those tools. Now he has to apply them, right? He's on the verge of greatness. He's a speedster on the base path, and he's one of the kids that I give the sign for a green light, right? One of the signs to steal a base. If you feel it, go. He's got that. He's got that. He's got a nasty curve that honestly he's probably tied with Ryland and making people swing and miss. And his future is bright. Nash, come on up, dude. Okay, this next kid, he is definitely, I wonder who it is. He's one of the smallest kids on our team, but he is the most grittiest player that we have. He is a left-handed player that loves catching and does a phenomenal job behind the plate. I mean, that was something that our 10U needed, is a guy to get, like, we couldn't ask like the core players to, like the pitchers, to pitch and then catch, right? We tried that the first game. It didn't work out well, right? He stepped up. He was a wall back there. It was amazing to see him. He was our leadoff hitter, and the knowledge of the game that he has is incredible. I mean, for such a young guy to be able to know where to go with the ball. He always challenges the coaches. Always challenge, but a good way, right? He's asking questions about, well, why are we doing it this way? Why don't we do it this way, right? And he'll ask. I appreciate that. That just shows his knowledge of the game. He's played multiple positions for us. Third, he's caught. He's played second. He's played outfield. But most importantly, he was one of the kids that from day one, we needed another pitcher. He was one of the kids that we were trying to develop that did progress, right? And we tried different players, don't get us wrong. But he took that and progressed on his own. So, Caden, come on up.
Line up for pictures, coaches behind, kids in front.
18 years old.
Alright, look here, guys.
Let's play basketball, remember?
Stand up straight, guys. Everybody stand up straight. Stand up straight. Yeah. Look there, look straight. Alright, I'll share all these pictures for everybody.
Yeah!
Hey.
Smile, Peter. Oh. Peter's not in here. Three more. No, 2 more. Come on. Oh my God. What did you do? Can you guys all look up? No. When you look. 2, 3. You're the only one that didn't look at me. I got it.
Last one. You got a lot of
Come on, Danny. Danny, what did you do? Please. Okay, we're not making pictures. You've been watching my picture. Yay. Danny doesn't like pictures. He hates us. Should I put on this?
Yeah, one more round of applause for our 10U team. Outstanding year. Just, it's kind of what it's all about to me. I'm watching the 10U do their awards and whatnot, and earlier today I was looking through some pictures on, past Jaxx banquets and different awards and stuff, and I'm just sitting here watching some of the awards, like the home plate award to the pitcher, and up at the high school, our ace pitcher just signed a full ride scholarship to Hawaii, who also won that same award, held the same plaque about 4 or 5 years ago. And then I'm sitting there kind of soaking that up, and that's what it's all about. Okay, so we will move on to our 11U, and I got to start with a few guys that I don't think as much as I should, and I know that we all get busy and everything, and it's like I said before, every pitcher knows you're only as good as your catcher, and any manager, any head coach knows you're only as good as your supporting staff and the guys that are out there kind of digging in the trenches with you. So I'd like to call up my coaching staff, Coach Jason Toledo, Coach Tony Toledo, Coach Mike Finan. Nice see Dean got here, Coach Dean Balut.
So you guys don't need to smile.
Yeah, you can do it that way. Yeah, put the kids on this side.
Trying to help the boys out.
Coach Tony, you get the award for best tie.
Okay, guys. Kind of like, first off, it's really bothering me. Move the tablecloth over. Oh, it's for the camera? Okay, I thought it was the voice. We're good if it's the camera then. I just thought it was Jake being Jake. So. Okay, so we're going to start out with the players. Kind of like the 10U did, we're going to call you each up one by one, stand in front, take a picture, and then we've got some individual awards at the end. This first player that I'm going to start with, and you're kind of going to hear the theme of what I have to say tonight, and it's something that stuck with me. It's about players stepping up. Players stepping up from last year, filling different roles this year, filling different voids that we may have, and kind of expanding their game. And this first player did that to the fullest. Hadn't played a lot of outfield up until last year, and I know it was a little bit of an adjustment for him. And as Coach Xavier said, outfield is one of the most important things once you get to higher levels of baseball and advanced baseball. And he has really kind of soaked it up and learned the position as well as the mentality behind the position. And where he's evolved and filled voids like I talked about and stepped it up is on the mound this year. Last year he didn't pitch for us, and this year he stepped up along with a few other guys. And really gave us some innings when we needed it. In certain tournaments where you kind of start to run thin on pitching, you got to plan ahead 2 or 3 days. And we tried him through some bullpens. We kind of like what we saw. He throws a lot of strikes. He's got a good change of speeds. And we gave him opportunity. And he really helped us out and gave us innings when we needed it. And like I said before, he's turned into a very, very good outfielder. Where I'm most impressed with him, and it's kind of one of the things that I'm always looking at. We call it baseball IQ. It's your baseball smarts. Do you have it? So for some it comes easier, for some it comes harder. He's got a high baseball IQ, and that's just going to help him in this sport. Talking about Akaika Amorin. The next player I'm going to talk about is a player that we really rely on, given the positions that he plays. You know, there's a couple players that if we're going to go out full steam and give everything we got, we need them at the game. We need them at certain positions. This player in particular, the one thing that I admire about him the most is his hustle. It doesn't matter if he's at second base, if he's at shortstop, if he's at catcher. In sports, you'll hear the term from a coach where it says, this kid will run through a wall for you. I feel like that is this kid. And his work ethics, you know, I think inspire others, especially with the catching position. As you all know, with the Jaxx program, we work catchers hard. And sometimes it's not a fun thing. You know, you kind of got to pay your dues back there in order to become better. And he has done that. And he's turned into one of the best defensive catchers I've seen at this age group. And his intensity and his 100%, him going 100% all the time, rubs off on the other players around him and just makes everybody better. I'm talking about Dean Ballou. Okay, the next player, just another example of someone who's stepped up their game and kind of has risen to the call and has filled voids. You know, we're looking for different guys to pitch and give us innings, different guys to go and catch so we can give other kids breaks, so on and so on. And he did this to the fullest. It actually, our coaching staff, we saw him catch last year in Little League, and I remember the conversation that sparked it, and we started kind of talking to each other and said, I think he can catch for us. I think if we work him, I think he can catch for us, and this could be huge. This could change the look of our team. And it did. And I couldn't finish my talk without also talking. He's kind of our sniper guy, too. He tends to, you know, when you hear us call out sniper, a lot of times it's this guy. He's hitting the deck. Sniper hasn't been kind to him, seems to find him wherever he's at. We're working on it. Okay? But back to a serious note. What he did with catching, he led the team in catching, caught 90 innings for us this year. And like I say, that was a big relief, a big break for the other catchers, and he did such a good job. As I talked about a minute ago, catching's not always a fun, glamorous position. You know, you're going to war back there sometimes. And he did it with a smile on his face like he has right now. Talking about Anthony Biela. You didn't see, he almost fell when he got up there.
He's in here somewhere.
Okay, moving on to the next player. Had the privilege of coaching this player now for the past 2 or 3 years. And anytime you talk about a baseball team, there's always different aspects. You need your guys in the beginning of the lineup to kind of get on base, steal some bases, get in scoring position. And then you need your big guys in the middle of the lineup. Someone who's a threat to hit the ball hard. Someone that the other pitcher's going to look at and fear right away. This guy does that for us. He gets in the middle of our lineup. He led the team in home runs. He had 4 home runs this year, including that one that I think is still rolling down the 60 freeway. He's also one of our ace pitchers. Can play outfield, can play infield. What I admire the most this year was what he did for us catching, like I spoke about with Anthony. He caught 80 innings for us this year, and we really leaned on him, especially at the 11U level. The base running kind of brings a whole different aspect to the game. And if you don't have a catcher back there that has a gun, has a cannon, these other teams are going to run all over you. So we really leaned on him to put him back there and, hey, throw some runners out. And he did just that. He threw out 11 runners for a runner thrown out percentage of 30%, which is actually really, really good at this level. Talking about Andrew Bokley.
Oh yeah. Danny, don't get started.
Don't break anything else.
Don't sniper.
Next player I'm going to talk about, kind of sticking on the theme with your big bats in the middle of the lineup. It's what you need, and when you beef up the middle of your lineup, it kind of rotates and it evolves around your cleanup hitter. And with being the cleanup hitter comes a big responsibility. Right off the bat, before another coach has even seen you swing a bat, you're going to get pitched to a little bit differently because of where you're batting in the lineup. And you got to make sure you put someone there that can handle it. And he does. Swung a great bat for us all year long, started off on fire, and stayed pretty consistent all the way through. Not only with the bat, he's one of our main guys on the mound, constantly giving us innings whenever we need it. And defensively, he's really kind of fallen into his own over at third base, which me with the high school background, I'm always thinking, where do kids project? I want to start getting them time right now and where they might project 3 years from now. And like I say, falling into his own at third base, which is a position I see him projecting at and playing there for a while. I'm talking about Jared Quadras. Jared also has a really good birthday dance, but I don't think he's not willing to show us tonight.
No, Danny.
Okay, next player I'm going to talk about probably has one of the toughest jobs on the team, and that's putting up with me. Not only on the field, it's at home, it's the car ride home from practice, it's the car ride to school the next morning. And, you know, when all's said and done, he really does do a great job of kind of taking what I have to say, or maybe blocking it out, and growing from it, and taking something from it and moving forward and becoming a better player. Led the team in hits this year, led the team in RBIs. Again, one of those bats in the middle of the lineup that you need, plays multiple positions. You know, we can put him where we need him. We know that he's going to make some plays. And on the mound, he's the guy we want pitching in the big games. Jacob Duhamel. Next guy I'm going to talk about, and again, kind of sticking to the theme of kind of stepping up your game, evolving, filling holes, filling voids, and this guy did that. He's one of our outfielders, and constantly working in the outfield. And I've had talks with him where I sit there and I say, I don't want you to get too frustrated with the outfield. We need you to hit. In baseball, if you can hit, any team's going to find a spot for you. And really worked on his hitting. It's improving literally week by week. Not only stat-wise with the hits and averages and stuff like that. Now all of a sudden he's seeing the ball better. He's understanding different counts. He's understanding an approach, when you might be in a fastball count, when to get picky with what pitch you're going to swing at, when to be aggressive. And it's really good to see him grow as a player. The area where he's most helped us this year is growing as a pitcher. Again, talking about tournaments, wear and tear on guys' arms. We need to develop more pitching. We need guys to give us those innings, and he did that. He did that really good for us this season. In fact, our last tournament, probably the best I've seen him pitch since I know the kid. And it's good to see the accuracy come around. Now he's learning 2 and 3 different pitches. He's got a bright future on the mound. And the thing I admire about him the most, if you see him once he gets on the mound, you've heard the term put on your game face, he kind of turns into a different player when he's on the mound. He's ready to go get you. He wants to throw strikes. He's going to say, what are you going to do about it? Right? I'm talking about Danny Finan. So again, sticking with the theme, this next player has done exactly that, stepped his game up, gave us something that we didn't know, or at least speak for myself, I didn't know we were going to get out of him. And I guess what it took, I guess it took a Little League game last year for him to go and just shut us down, for me to realize, wow, he's going to pitch for us on the Jaxx now. And he did just that. He can play multiple positions, working hard in the outfield, comes in, been playing a really good third base, swinging the bat just like he always has. And again, like I just spoke with Danny, where he helped us the most was with stepping up on the mound. You know, we saw him last year, we gave him the opportunity, and some of the innings he gave us in some of these long tournaments, they're just irreplaceable. You need those kind of kids that can get up there and throw strikes and give you innings to get you through the tournament. Talking about Aaron Madrid. Next guy I'm going to talk about, one of the guys I've probably known the longest, known the family for a while, brings a lot to our team in several different aspects. I'm going to talk about a couple of them. One, on the mound, always, you're always going to need a lefty, right? You're always going to need a lefty to go out and mix it up, give teams different looks, and this guy does that for us. What he brought to the table at first base this year was huge. As I talked about with Anthony, stepping up, giving us the 90 innings catching, that puts different guys at different positions. Now what we needed is him to play a bigger role at first base and become the main first baseman. And it's, again, a position that he's going to project at. It's a position I know he works hard at. And to talk about just him as an athlete and as a baseball player, if I didn't need him at first base, I could probably put him out in center field and he might be the best outfielder on our team. He's that kind of athlete. I'm talking about Nate Mena. Okay, that's everybody, right?
That's it.
You know what? We got one more player, and before I talk about what he does on the field, it's kind of similar to what I said about Jacob, except he gets it in both ears, you know. And as Jacob, he also does a good job of taking the criticism, growing from it, becoming a better ball player. I think he understands and he knows why his dad and his grandpa and myself are hard on him. And that's what's going to make him a better baseball player. On the field, he's again, like I talked about before with Dean, we need this guy here. We need him on the field. We need him on the infield. We need him to pitch in the big games. He's our leadoff batter. He starts it off. When we're going facing a team, this is the guy I want the other team to see first. Led our team in batting average, led our team in runs scored, led our team in stolen bases, and did a really, really good job on the mound. And again, he's one of the guys. You're in the big game. We need him on the mound. We know who we're going to. Talking about Jason Toledo. Okay, we're going to move on to our awards. Before we get to the Coach's Awards, and like I say, I know a lot of the players know about it. You know, our hit clubs, we have the 100 hit club, 150, 200, 300, 350, so on and so on. It kind of keeps going. It was really cool to see we had two guys get to the 100 hit mark, and we've got about 4 or 5 others that are like right there, ready to go. So it's going to be fun to see how many we can get there and beyond. You know, set the goals high. So our 100 hit club, we had 2 players. Jacob Toledo. Jason Toledo with 108 hits. Jacob Duhamel with 101 hits.
That's getting that close, isn't it?
We're not going to trade you for adoption. Maybe next week.
Way to go, Jacob Toledo.
What is it? It's a bird. Which one? Okay, Danny, put them in here. You already stated.
You're joking over the Jacob Toledo.
When you get to the hit club, we've been doing this again for the past 5 or 6 years. And Ryan Lewis, the career leader in hits. He's the shortstop for us up at the high school. I think he's got 5 or 6 of these. This little bat kind of talks about what hit club you're in, and then you move on to the next one.
Hey, you don't need to stain it. Alright, you're good. Oh, really, Coach?
Okay, we're going to move on to our Coaches Award, and I want to talk about the Coaches Award for a minute, okay? As Coach Xavier had said, the kids come and they vote on the 4 awards. The Coaches Award is a chance for the coaches to get together and kind of talk about what did we miss. Maybe this player isn't the Offensive Player of the Year. Maybe he's not the Pitcher of the Year. Maybe he's not quite the Gold Glove. But what else did he bring to the table? And it could be all different aspects. And I talked about it earlier. This was unanimous. There really wasn't much of a debate. I talked about it earlier. Again, sticking with the theme of stepping up, filling voids, you know, and what this guy did for us behind the plate, what that did for the team, made all the difference in the world. That was what was enabling us to go and compete. Again, being able to move different guys around, filling that void of all those innings behind the plate. And again, if you think about it, I mean, if any of us were to go back there and try and catch 1 out, let alone 1 inning, let alone 90 innings, it's a tough job. Our Coaches Award is Anthony Bielia.
No, you can win all of them. Jake, imagine someone just like all. Jason. Hold on. I just remember we have to go tomorrow. I know it. That just ended it. Oh, dude. Good job, man. Good job. It's only
5. Next award we're going to move to is our Silver Slugger Award. And again, voted in by the kids. And I think all the coaches would agree with this as well. Talked about it before, being one of the big bats in the middle of the lineup. Throw out some stats here. Batted .317 for us with 39 hits. Very well rounded as a hitter. 7 doubles, 3 triples, 2 home runs, 36 RBIs, scored 37 runs. But what impresses me the most when you look about an offensive player, especially one that has power, is the strikeouts. Okay, to only strike out 9 times in 143 plate appearances is very impressive. It means you know how to handle the bat and you're very good with pitch selection. Our Offensive Player of the Year is Jared Quadras.
Dude, is it a mirror? Can you see yourself?
No, it's just clear through. See-through. See you.
Got you.
That's rude.
Thank you. There you go, Jeremy.
We're going to move on to our Gold Glove Award. And I talked about him earlier, and I talked a lot about his offense. And this is a great offensive player. This is a great pitcher. And I'm really glad he got voted in for this award because it kind of means a lot to me. If I was just picking myself, I probably would have picked him for this. What he did defensively for us, he's always been a very good defensive player since I've known him. But the way he stepped up behind the plate catching, and I talked about it earlier, at the 11U level, you'll get teams, and we call it, the floodgates are open. You know, once they know they can steal on you, they're just going to steal. And unless you have that guy back there that the other team knows we're in trouble if we steal on this guy, it makes it hard for a defense if you don't have a good arm behind the plate. And that's what he brought. He brings a cannon behind the plate. So our Gold Glove Award winner for his catching, Andrew Boking.
smile.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to pitcher of the year. This guy went 9-3, record of 9-3, 1.63 ERA. Talked about it before. You know, we're getting in the big game. You kind of plan around it. The guy we want on the mound. Our defense is best with him on the mound. Everything fits. This is where our team's the best. Me being a stat guy, one of the big stats that stick out, one of the things I'm proud of, I've done a lot of talking with him about it, he understands it, your strikeout to walk ratio. You'll hear coaches in baseball say all the time, no more freebies, no walks, walks turn into runs. 50 strikeouts with 15 walks in 48 innings pitched. Our pitcher of the year, Jacob Duhamel.
You're not quite that tall, bud. There you go, Jacob!
There's one more. One more? MVP? Alright. But I need all of you guys to.
Our last award is our MVP, and you think about the term, the meaning of the word. You know, your most valuable player, and I spoke before. You go to a game, we need this guy here, we need him at this position. He makes everything else better. All the pieces fit when he's there. You know, defensively, if I put him at shortstop, I'm sure he could go out and play center field if we needed. If I needed him to catch the 90 innings like Anthony did, he'd probably be willing to. On the mound, one of our aces, and he had a let's see here. He went 5-2 on the mound. Again, the whole strikeout to walk ratio. His innings pitched 38 innings, 42 strikeouts in the 38 innings, which is really, really good. Offensively, led the team in batting average. Talked about a spark plug, guy to get on base, steal a base, score a run. As a leadoff batter, that's what he's doing. If he's leading the team in batting average, on base percentage, scoring the runs, stealing the bases, he's doing his job as a leadoff batter. Our most valuable player, Jason Toledo. Everybody look at that. Done. Pay me.
Let's say the ones are out where they're close. They're making you guys look bad.
Good job, guys. What you got next? Where's our 10U players? Should be sitting down. Okay, the boys are getting something real quick.
I'm right here, don't worry.
Okay, real quick. As I said before, I don't think my coach is enough. They got some flowers here. It's not for me. No, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, and I lean on Tracy so much to help me out with all that other stuff. I'm good with the on the field stuff, the coaching. I get it. I'm a baseball guy. All the other stuff wouldn't be able to do without her. So don't tell her enough either. But thank you very much for all you do, Tracy.
Yeah. If you drop that,
Okay, I'd like all the players to come up here.
Oh God.
10 and 11, everybody.
Wait, did we bring this up?
Leave all your words.
No, Danny, stop. Ryland has his award. Touch you.
On this side, guys.
Right, go
Over
put
here.
down your award.
10 and 11.
Ryland
10
the
in,
cheater.
11 in the back, 10 in the front.
Ryland has his award. Really, Ryland? You gotta show it off.
Listen up. Hey. It's one thing that I like to do. I've kind of made a tradition at the banquets. Everybody's there for the games, win or lose. You see all the teams after the games. Kind of walk up to the sideline, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, parents. It's just something that we've never done, and there's a reason for it. I think rather than water it down all the time, I like to do one at the end and make it meaningful. So let's get one good one for the season, guys. Go ahead.
1, 2, 3. Thank you, parents! Hey, you missed. Go. Oh, wait. Dang, you're the worst.
Let's go.
Get Tracy. Wipe the tears. Hey, come on, Jake. Come here. Yeah, pretend like you know each other, right, guys? There you go. Everybody, shoulders back, big smiles. Look at me. One more time. Good.
This guy
Smile.
is the worst. Okay, so are you really doing that?
Okay, players, go ahead and have a seat. Players, come sit down.
I can't sit down.
We're almost done. Give me 2 minutes.
We have these.
Where's all our guys? Everyone had to go to the bathroom at the same time? That being said, I do want to end the night. Once again, parents, thank you. I started this 6 years ago, and actually I was telling a story to Ann. We actually started a travel team 16 years ago, back in 2000, and I came to the Arcata Elks, and they were our main sponsor, and they've been really kind to us ever since. But the goal behind it all, starting the travel ball, is kind of what we're seeing. Our boys growing into young men. One of the things I'm most proud of, some of you guys have older brothers with me up at the high school. You've heard me before, last year at Temple City High School, we got to the finals. 7 of our 9 starters on that field at UC Riverside were all sitting here 3, 4, 5 years ago. And just to me as a coach to kind of see it all come around in a circle, and now my son playing. And I've said it before too, I remember Nate, Jake, Jared, when you guys were the little ones out in the corner when I was yelling at to keep quiet while your older brothers were here. So it's really good to see. I hope those are your goals. I want to see you guys, keep moving forward, working hard, whether it's with my team, with another team, whatever it is. Onto the high school level, again, with me at the high school, wherever you go, and beyond. This is the first year also where we have ex-Jaxx players now playing at the collegiate level. So it's just that's one of the proud moments that I have as far as starting the organization. That's kind of what it's about, getting kids in the same community to play with each other. Okay, we kind of saw all of that, the good things it did for our all-star team last year, and that's just going to continue and above and beyond that, moving on to the high school level. You know, if you guys stick together, some of you guys will be playing with each other for 7 years by the time you get to high school, and that just doesn't happen. But that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So we're done for the night. Parents, thank you very much for buying in, supporting us, supporting your kids, and we will talk to everybody soon.